Hello guys, this is Octavius from North American Archery. Thank you so much for tuning into our channel. Today I want to talk to you about trad bow shooting slump recovery. The thing is guys, it's nothing more frustrating for the archer when you shoot for a very long extended period of time and you're like hitting on all cylinders, you're hitting what you're looking at, you're harvesting animals, you're doing a really good job in the craft, and all of a sudden you hit a shooting slump. How do you recover from that? What do you do in that situation? You may be somebody that is actually struggling with shooting in general because you seem to think in your mind that traditional archery is very difficult and you're never going to be able to do it right, so why even bother? Wherever you're at in your journey, I just want to talk to you today about a few things that's going to help you because it's right where I'm at today. Yesterday when I was shooting my bow, my wife was on the back patio and she was seeing me shoot some targets I have set up back there, and she said, "What's going on with you?" And I said, "I'm not shooting that well today." And she said, "I can tell." Anytime somebody that doesn't really shoot traditional archery, like my wife doesn't really shoot, she has a bow and she shoots every now and then, but she could see me struggle. She could see me completely miss a target and the actual arrows hitting the grass, hitting the trees behind the targets. And I said, I'm not shooting that well, sweetheart. I don't know what's up." So I'm literally going through that as we speak. I'm trying to work through that and navigate that. Now, I'm back on track right now. It was only about a couple days, but I'm going to share with you what I do. What are the steps that I take when I hit a wall like that? Because I don't quit, I don't press too hard, I kind of slow down the entire shooting process, and I make sure that I do that in a way that is conducive of recovery, not getting more and more frustrated. Okay guys, so I want you to bear with me. I got 8 steps that I take. Number 1 is I move closer to the target. Behind me is a target set up on a tree, and I might stand this close to it, within 3 yards, and I'll shoot just for form. Just for form, just for form, just for form. I'm not worried about hitting the bullseye. Not at all. Not my mindset at all. All I'm trying to do is work for my form and get used to that shot releasing off the string. So literally I'll come up to it this close. Because mind you, a couple days ago, up until yesterday, I was shooting pretty erratic. So basically I'll come up here like this and I'll go this close, anchor, and shoot. That's pretty much it. As you can see that on camera, I'm not exactly on the bullseye. I'm actually right below the center part of that target. It doesn't really matter. What I'm trying to do is really just come up and get used to hitting anchor and releasing the arrow from the string and getting my muscle memory back in line, making sure I hit anchor, making sure I get good back tension, make sure that I'm focusing on a spot. Where I was missing pretty erratically was at 30 yards away. And usually I'm hitting pretty good at 30 yards, but I was missing the target and I lost like 3 arrows up until yesterday. So the last couple of days, pretty much the entire weekend up until today, I was pretty erratic. So I had to slow down yesterday evening and step away and start doing some of the things I'm telling you. And number 1 was get closer to the target and work on my form. Number 2, and it's very critical, is slow down the shot process. It's so important to slow down your shot process because when you slow down your shot process, you get to the place as an archer where you're really starting to understand where the breakdown is. So let's say I'm going to slow down the shot process. Let me turn this way. So if I slow down the shot process and I'm really looking at what I'm about to hit with this arrow, and I focus and I go up and I pull back and I hit anchor. All right, focus on my spot. I might hold a little longer than normal before I let that arrow go, because I want to make sure I take in the whole sight picture. I want to make sure that when I'm looking at what I'm trying to hit, that I hit anchor and I really lean down into what I'm shooting at. I really put my focus on the spot and I take my time. I slow down the process. I'm not just shooting quickly. I'm not trying to just get an arrow out of the quiver and just shoot as fast as I possibly can. I'm hitting anchor. I'm leaning down in it. I'm focusing on my spot. I'm looking down an arrow shaft and I'm focusing on what I'm trying to hit. And I'm doing that within 3 to 5 yards, because I want to make sure that there's not something that is out of whack. Sometimes this happens also when you're not feeling that well. The last couple of days I had cold-like symptoms, runny nose, not a fever or anything like that, but just, you know, my eyes were draining, and that's part of it. My wife was like, well, maybe it's because you're sick. I don't make excuses. I should have had the same focus as I always do. I'm not going to try to put it on a sickness. I've hunted and killed animals and not felt the best during the holiday season. You know, whatever it was, you know, I felt sick or had a headache or had a sore throat, whatever it was. I've been up in a tree stand in the dead of winter and harvested a deer before in my life with a sore throat or a runny nose. So I know I can do it. So, but sometimes when you don't feel the best, traumatic event happens in your life, maybe you're sick, maybe you have a lot of things in your mind, not clear in your mind, you can also shoot poorly. So it helps that you slow down the process, clear your mind, don't worry about your symptoms or your sickness, or don't worry about what happened last night at work or what your family's going through. All you need to do is focus on what you're doing and slow down that shot process. It's pretty critical to do that. Then you got number 3, shoot on camera for your records. So you want to shoot on camera for your records, because what you're going to be able to do is slow down your shot process in segments, seeing kind of where your breakdown is. For me, as I shot on camera, as I really looked at what I was doing, basically I wasn't hitting anchor completely. I was shooting a little too quick. Now I say that because with me, I will shoot quick, and you see a lot of my videos, I shoot pretty quick, and as soon as I hit anchor, I let the arrow go. But this was a little too quick because I wasn't settling down. I wasn't allowing my face to lean with the can of my bow so that I'm looking down the arrow shaft and focusing on what I'm looking at. I was shooting more out here instead of shooting more here. You can get those things on camera. And in my case, I didn't get those things necessarily on camera. I got it more before I even looked at the footage from the way it felt when I sat down and took a break and kind of reflected on my shooting the last couple days. Number 4, make sure the arrow is under your dominant eye. When you want to find your dominant eye, this is the best thing you need to do. Find a light switch or a plug or something very small in your house, and you put your finger on it with both eyes open. So about in the middle of your nose, okay? About the middle of your face, middle of your nose, focus on your spot, and then close your eye, okay? Close your eye and see kind of where when you close one eye, whatever eye moves your finger to the point that you're focusing on is your dominant eye. So right now, when I close my right eye, it's right on what I'm looking at right now, which is a camera lens. As soon as I close my right eye, it moves where my right eye was. So as soon as you close your eye, if your arrow doesn't move and you're focusing, like right now I'm focusing on that camera lens and my right eye is open, it's dead center. But as soon as I close my right eye, it moves where my right eye is. That is how you determine your dominant eye. It's the eye that is in line with what you're focusing on with your finger in the center of your nose. When you find that, you want your arrow shaft underneath that right eye or underneath that left eye. So it depends on your dominant eye. Well, with me, because I'm not leaning down and getting the anchor, my face is out here, my arrow's over there. I need to lean down in my shot and get that right underneath my eye, that arrow shaft, and I'm gonna hit a lot better. So make sure that in the process of slowing down your shot process, put that arrow shaft underneath your dominant eye. I shoot instinctively, but I would be telling a falsehood, a tall tale, if I said I don't listen, or I should say pay attention to my arrow shaft. That's incorrect. Everybody has to see their arrow shaft in order to hit consistently at all distances. You need the whole sight picture, and the sight picture includes that arrow. Number 5, set target parallel with your bow arm. So right now, setting the target parallel to my bow arm, that target's right there. So as soon as I put my bow arm up, I'm in line with the actual target. You can see that as soon as I raise my bow arm up, I'm not up here, I'm not down there, I'm right in line with the target. And it's level all the way back behind this camera, all the way back about 20 yards, 30 yards is level before it drops down on the hill. So I can shoot up to 20 yards parallel with that target. Why is that so important? Because a lot of us, when we practice, and I'm guilty of it as well, we shoot down. Okay, we shoot down because our target, our block target, our hay bale, our 3D animal, whatever is downhill, because a lot of us shoot from a tree stand. So we like to shoot down. It's what our comfort zone is. What you want to do when you go into a shooting slump, you want to shoot parallel so that you can work on that form and make sure that everything's in alignment. Okay? Then you got number 6, shoot groups to build confidence. I'm a person that is a big proponent for shooting single arrows. I like single arrow practice because I'm primarily a bow hunter. So as a bow hunter, I'm trying to make one arrow count. If I make a follow-up shot, it's just to finish him off. It's not necessarily to try to kill him or try to harvest him. That first arrow, I want to make it count every single time. So most of the time when I practice for hunting purposes, I'm shooting one arrow at each distance, or I'm shooting one arrow and going to get that arrow at 20 yards, 15 yards, go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But I do shoot groups, and you hear me say this in other videos, when I hit a shooting slump, because it builds confidence when you can group 3 to 6 arrows in one bullseye. So you can start out at close distance, okay, parallel your bow arm to the actual target, and when you group in consistently, then you just move back, okay, until you feel confident again to go back to single arrow practice or shoot at longer distances. Then you got number 7, don't quit, embrace recovery. It's so important, guys, that you don't quit in traditional archery, because a lot of us get frustrated and we're not recovering from, let's say, target panic, or let's say a shooting slump, or bad form, a lot of bad advice on YouTube. Maybe you need a coach. Maybe you need to go out and say, you know what, I'm not getting this. I'm gonna stop watching YouTube and go out and get a coach here locally that I know about that can help me with my archery form. Maybe I can join a league and get with better people in the sport itself that can teach me the better techniques that I need to learn. That might be you. Or you might be somebody that's saying, hey, I know what I need to do. I just need to be patient with the process. And I know patience is like a naughty word almost in our society today, because everybody wants instant gratification. But traditional archery is not tradition. It's not going to be instant gratification. It's going to be a process. So if you embrace recovery, understanding it might take a couple days, weeks, or months to get back on track or get better to the point where you don't go backwards, you're always going forwards in the craft, you're going to have a no-quit attitude and stay the course. So embrace recovery and know that it's not going to be overnight, and it will not make you as frustrated when you're not getting it as fast. And then number 8, take breaks as needed. It's so important to take breaks. So a couple days ago, like I said, what was it, Friday? I was shooting okay. Saturday, which was yesterday, I was shooting really bad. So then I said, okay, I got to take a break. I got a little bit better before I went in, but I lost a couple of arrows, and it's been a while since I've lost multiple arrows shooting at the same target. So I was like, something's off. I need to go inside, rest up, shower, not worry about it. But I took a break because historically, when I don't take breaks, I get more frustrated, and I might even form poor habits in order to overcompensate that problem that day. I need to trust the process I've already been through, the journey that I'm on, understand that I am a great bow shooter, especially when it comes to hunting. And I need to embrace that and say, let me go inside, take a break, and I'll come back tomorrow. So literally today, I was shooting a 3D animal, and I was working on close range work, and now I am recovering at a rapid rate from the last couple of days of poor shooting. And so guys, take breaks, understand that this is a process. It's a marathon, not a sprint in traditional archery. So these are some of the things that I do personally to put me back on the right track. This happens a few times a year for me where I'm like, wow, I'm not shooting that well these last couple days. And usually it's a subtle change. It may be something that it's in my mind. I'm not able to focus on what I'm doing. I might be hurrying, trying to shoot a couple arrows. I might not be feeling the best, whatever it might be. And it kind of throws me off track. So I have these things that I do to ensure that I'm ready to go when it matters the most in a pressure situation. So guys, thank you so much for tuning into this video. I hope this helps you. Thank you for your likes, your subscriptions. Continue to turn on your post notifications. And I want you to remember this: you don't have to get ready when you stay ready. All right, guys, we'll see you later.